Hi, I'm Rachel May, and you're about to watch my documentary about obesity in America.
Well, you've heard about the military-industrial complex, but there's a system that's pumping money into corporations while harming average Americans. Another system that some refer to as the obesity industrial complex. And it's this system that contributes to the obesity epidemic in the U.S. So while the health and well-being of Americans suffers, who is benefiting? Well, as you'll see, big corporations are raking in the dough from the fattening of America. And not only are politicians not stopping it, it seems they're feeding the problem.
Listen, we're broke. And we need to stop the out-of-control spending spree that's going on in Washington, D.C.
As the debate over cutting government spending rages on, billions of taxpayer dollars wasted each year on junk food. Between 1995 and 2010, over $250 billion was spent on subsidizing foods that are making Americans fat.
74% of all the subsidies go to just 10% of the agribusinesses. These are not the small farms.
Public funds go to agri-giants like Monsanto. The company produces genetically modified seeds and claims more than 93% of soybean and 80% of the corn market in the U.S. But this is not what Americans are consuming. The crops are turned into products like high fructose corn syrup, which end up in most processed foods. The effect on American health is devastating. 75% of Americans are now overweight. And advertisers today target kids.
The most important part of a McDonald's Happy Meal is you.
Hey, Superman, this is kryptonite for us.
The result, 1 in 5 kids in America are obese.
They like sweets, and they like all the additives that are added to fast foods and sodas and snacks.
Meanwhile, corporations are profiting from the fattening of America. They spend millions each year lobbying Congress to uphold policies that keep the big businesses profitable. David Rosen calls the system the obesity industrial complex.
That the system is essentially, it's a pay-to-play system, and if you can pay to support your local congressman or senator, you have a stronger opportunity to both not only influence the laws that are passed, but actually draft the laws.
Like Congress recently declaring pizza a vegetable.
Agribusinesses spend a lot of money lobbying on Capitol Hill and making sure that the funding is going towards things that are going to drive down the products of the most profitable products.
Also cashing in on the fattening of America, pharmaceutical companies. The U.S. spends $147 billion each year treating obesity-related illnesses. Countries from China to Hungary require labeling of GMO foods, but with the power of corporations and lobbyists to influence politics, no such laws exist in the U.S. today. In Washington, Liz Wall, RT.
In health news tonight, a new Connecticut law that could save you money on prescription drugs.
Plus, it's perhaps the #1 public health crisis in our country. We're talking about childhood obesity, and News 8's health reporter Jocelyn Momenta here to talk about what's being done to address that very issue. Jocelyn?
Well, Sonia, the number of obese children is increasing, and experts tell me this generation could potentially be the first generation that will have a shorter lifespan than their parents.
Childhood obesity is fast becoming the #1 public health crisis in America. The CDC reporting the number of obese children has more than tripled in the past 30 years.
It's not just something that we can say it's genetic, so here's a pill or here is some advice. There are socio-cultural, economic, behavioral, a number of different factors that are interplaying to create this problem.
A complex problem means no simple solution. That's why thinkers, policymakers, and clinicians are meeting on the campus of Wesleyan University. Dr. Nwando Leowola, the chief medical officer of Community Health Center, says it starts at the dinner table.
Just talk about it. Just talk about it. You address it. Don't criticize the children. Don't punish the children for being overweight or being obese. But really talk about it in the context of how can we address this as a family.
Staying active took on new meaning in Somerville, Massachusetts.
We saw through our mapping in 2003 that our first to third graders, 46% of them were either obese or at risk of being obese, more than a national trend.
Mayor Joseph Cortatoni instituted policy changes to shape up his city.
How people live, how people play. We want you to get out and eat smart. We want you to get out and play hard. Our results on the school side is our children gained less weight than our surrounding communities over that trial period.
A healthy approach other communities can learn to adopt to reverse the childhood obesity epidemic.
A troubling statistic, a study shows more than 70% of obese children will be overweight or obese as adults unless the epidemic crisis is reversed. And of course, there's the health impact linked to obesity, diabetes, and heart health issues among them.
to beautiful Huntington, West Virginia, population 50,000, home of Marshall University, and recently named the unhealthiest city in America. In a place where nearly half the adults are considered obese, and incidents of diabetes and heart disease lead the nation, one man is coming to lead a food revolution.
This is about life and death.
Jamie Oliver, renowned British chef who transformed the British school food program,
Everyone can do better.
has come to our shores to take on the biggest mission of his life, to save an entire American city.
I'm here to inspire and show America that just a little effort can make a massive difference.
But in this town, the revolution will meet resistance.
What are you here for? The results came out that this town was the most unhealthy town in America. This is a government statistic based on death.
We don't want to sit around and eat lettuce all day. I don't think Jamie's got anything that can change this town. He can try all he wants. I don't think he's got it.
I thought there was only miserable bastards like that in England. How's your pizza for breakfast? In all of my years, I've never seen pizza given for breakfast in any country. Who knows what this is?
Potatoes.
So you think these are potatoes? This is the future of America.
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that? What's right with that? Would you eat that?
Yes, I think it's good.
I'm talking about causing a big fuss. I'm changing things. Change.
Yeah, okay.
They don't understand me because they don't know why I'm here.
In a city with a growing epidemic,
I've tried every diet. I've tried going to the gym. I just can't get the motivation.
This is going to kill your children.
With a coloration of the neck, the family history of diabetes, you may be dying in your 30s.
one man will try to save 50,000 lives.
If you think that's not important, then shame on you. The fat consumed by the entire school for 1 year. This is the first generation of kids expected to live a shorter life than their parents. Will you support me? I'm talking about a seed of change. I'm talking about schools. I'm talking about fast food industry. I'm here to start a revolution, the biggest food revolution this country's ever seen.
Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution. Series premiere Friday, March 26, 9/8 Central on ABC.
What is officially the biggest health crisis in American history. 34% of American adults, 17% of our children are considered obese, and today a government panel issued a brand new plea for all of us to change how we eat. Here's Lindsay Davis.
We all understood the old food pyramid, grains on the bottom, oils on top. Every 5 years, they change the guidelines. And today, the USDA made their recommendations for how to cut the fat in 2010. Eat more fruits and vegetables with only moderate amounts of lean meats and eggs. Put that salt shaker down. You should cut out at least half a teaspoon of sodium a day. Eat less solid or saturated fat, so cut down on things like processed meats. The saturated fat should account for 7% of total calories. That's about a slice and a half of bacon.
Nutritionists say obesity is the biggest threat to public health. In the last 30 years, obesity rates for kids have tripled.
These represent the most aggressive and forward-thinking guidelines.
The problem is many of us are in denial about what we eat.
Take a stab at how many milligrams of sodium are in your grilled cheese sandwich. What would you think?
I would imagine it's a fairly high amount. I don't know, maybe 40%.
She's wrong. 2 slices of American cheese melted in between 2 slices of white bread and a tablespoon of butter adds up to 1,135 milligrams of sodium. Based on today's recommendations, she's just consumed 76% of her sodium allowance for the day. Lindsay Davis, ABC News, New York.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.